Today's topic is separation anxiety. Is that something to be taken for real? Well, let's start with some examples. I have here 3 cases from patients and clients. Let's call the first client Anita. She is used to come home from a night out and find her favorite lipstick, not a cheap brand, smeared all over the bed and chewed up. Well, this is not a happy thing, especially because she finds traces of it on the muzzle of her dog. Case number 2, let's call her Marie. Whenever Marie comes home from a day of work, her waste basket is emptied and everything is strewn around. And of course, she finds her dog looking with a guilty face, but nevertheless super happy that she is back when she comes home. Case number 3, Patricia and her husband deal with a very moody dog every time before they leave for work. And we all know we have to go to work, the 2 of them have to go to work as well. But it's very difficult for them dealing with the guilt they feel, with the sad eyes following them throughout the rooms, going from the bathroom or the kitchen to another room, getting ready for work. And as soon as they leave, even if they call the dog for a goodbye, a sweet goodbye, a cuddle, nothing. The dog will not even look at them. So they are feeling very guilty and the dog is obviously highly distressed. Now 3 cases of separation anxiety. Separation anxiety can obviously express itself in different ways. One would be destroying things. Another thing is occupying the empty time in ways that we might not like very much, like the wastebasket thing. And sulking, which makes us feel very often guilty. Separation anxiety can express itself in several ways. One would be frantically scratching the door. That's like one thing that we all would put under separation anxiety topic. The other one would be trying to escape through a window or trying to even pull out a screen, just following you in searching for you, the owner. The other thing would be howling, barking, or chewing things up in the house when left alone, whether be it for a short period of time or a long period of time. So all these things fall under separation anxiety. Now, what is the reason for separation anxiety? Why do dogs do that? Well, no one knows that for exactly sure. We can't ask them after all. But here are a few conditions that seem to able to trigger separation anxiety. One would be a change in routine. Dogs are creatures of habit. Many of us are too. If most evenings, let's say, for example, are spent with the dog, and one evening we want to go out and leave the dog back, this can trigger in the dog a separation anxiety. All of a sudden things change. The dog can't make, the dog doesn't know how to use a different situation to its own advantage and gets frantic. Another one would be change in environment. You might want to have to move house and the dog all of a sudden is left without its usual environmental smells, furniture, things that the dog is used to. Another one would be a traumatic experience while you are not around, be it a thunderstorm, especially heavy thunderstorm, be it a break-in, for example, smashed window. This might trigger in the dog a memory that every time when you're out, things like this might happen again, and then the dog gets anxious. Another part is us, actually. The dog might be over-reliant on us for companionship. This happens especially with dogs who are very close to us, who are used to follow us everywhere around. When we are at home, nothing can be done without the dog. Whether we go to the bathroom, whether we are sitting down, the dog will be always at our feet or at our lap. So a dog who is suddenly left alone without its lifeline, so to speak, its umbilical cord cut, can get very frantic and very anxious. And the last but not least of all is attention seeking. Some dogs just want to be noticed at all times, and even scolding is better than not being noticed. Okay, then how do we deal with separation anxiety? Now let me first say one thing: there is no simple or quick fix for it. The other part is you need to bear in mind that whatever the dog did, don't punish the dog for it. The dog did not do it in spite. It is actually a reaction to an emotion that the dog can control. And we have to credit dogs. There are animals for it, because even people who should know better can react like this. So the dog doesn't do it to spite you, but out of anxiety, out of fear, out of confusion, out of desperation. Now, the only thing to acknowledge is that we, unknowingly of course, would have encouraged the problem to begin with. Yeah? Now, let's see problems and solutions for it. Problem number 1. would be, I feel bad about leaving my dog alone. Dogs intuitively pick up on our vibes, and if we feel bad leaving them alone, they will feel that something is wrong being left alone. Yeah. So at the end of the day, when we come back, we shower them with affection, because feeling bad about leaving them alone triggers in us making up for it. And a dog is like, oh, thank God my savior is back. So this doesn't help in separation anxiety. What's the solution? Starting with us. Practice being calm when you leave. Don't make a big drama out of it. Yeah? Confidently leave the house when it's time to go, and when you're returning, you don't make a big drama either. So there would be no talk, no eye contact, no overtly touch. Let everything calm down, and then shower the dog with affection, or rather, first exercise your dog. So the problem here is you, and the problem is starting with you, and it is ending with you. Or rather me, if I'm the dog owner. Another problem. Dog is the center of our universe. Again, always we call a name, always we cuddle the dog, always we run around the dog. So at the end of the day, this creates an unhealthy sense of bonding, and the dog feels like we are his lifeline, his or her lifeline, basically an umbilical cord that is cut off when we are not around. What's the solution? We must understand that a dog is a dog. A dog is an animal. So also interactive activities like playing, like walking are really necessary and essential to create a bond. The bond shouldn't become unhealthily strong, which means let's be aware that the dog also needs to be a dog. A dog should be able to entertain himself with a little doggy nap, chewing on something, exploring and sniffing things around. That's doggy style relaxation. They don't need us for it, and we should not prevent them from doing things which make them happy without us. Another thing problem is the dog is bored or under-exercised. Well, here again it's a problem that starts with us and would end with us. How can a dog be bored and under-exercised if it's not for our laziness to do something? Is the dog to challenge the dog? So the dog has too much unused energy, and that's why no outlet, and it might end up in being destructive, hyperactive, being emotionally unstable. Solution? Exercise. Exercise in a way that truly exercises the dog, in a happy way, of course. Also remember, you might have a working breed. A working breed needs to do something. A shepherd was bred, essentially, and this is not yet outbred of that dog, for a certain task. A shepherd would be a herding dog, so wants to do something. A retriever is a retrieving dog. A Jack Russell is a hunting dog. So we should not forget that they have quite a high energy level, and they need to do something constructive with the energy, otherwise it backfires and we will have separation anxiety issues building up because there is too much energy in the dog and it has nowhere to go. The other problem would be, okay, a dog has actually no place to feel safe and secure. That leads us to creating a dog. Isn't that a cruel thing? Create the dog, lock the dog away. And definitely we are not talking about that. Creating is a good solution if you make a few basic things very sure. The crate has to be a comfortable place, and the dog must love the place, and it's not about locking away the dog, but providing a nice place in the thick of activity probably. Yeah? So it's not something to lock the dog away. So what do? We create a happy environment by introducing the dog step by step to the crate. Firstly, we open the crate door. We make it very nice and comfortable. A nice blanket, a pillow, something like this inside. We leave the doors open always to start off with. Then we'll place a toy inside, food inside, depending on what your dog is motivated with. When the dog is, without hesitation, going inside the cage, well, we can call it cage as well, depending whatever the confined area is, comfortable confined area, then it is time to close the door for a short time. Don't make a big fuss out of it, but open it quite soon again, so that the dog doesn't feel, oh, he or she was trapped. And then, of course, we prolong these times. We make sure the crate has to have the right place. Of course, it has to be the right size of the dog. It shouldn't be too big and it shouldn't be too small either. It shouldn't be like a hall for the dog. It shouldn't be so small that the dog can't turn around, can't stand up. Yeah? Use common sense for that one. But crating can truly help with our separation anxiety too, because again, a little bit like thundershock, a little bit like anxiety, right? It confines the dog in a certain area, yeah, and it in a comfortable way, obviously. Now, when the dog is willing to go inside, when the dog is happy to go inside, you can leave the dog actually in a crate, but you again use common sense. The dog has to empty bowel movement and bladder first, and the dog has to be exercised first. It is no way to crate a dog who is full of energy, hasn't had toilet time. That would be a cruel thing to to do. Well, now with all these tips, we wish you that you and your dog have a better relationship, that anxiety issues are not a problem for you or get better.